Good afternoon. I'm Brian Manning, and this is the Asylum Answers show where I'm going to answer your questions about winning asylum in America. Hey, YouTube. Good afternoon. Hello, TikTok. Hello, Facebook. And hi over on LinkedIn. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer. So I used to be an asylum officer, but now as an asylum lawyer, I have a law firm called Political Asylum Lawyers. It's based in Texas, and we help immigrants all over the country. It doesn't matter whether you're in Texas or not. We help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Hello, good afternoon. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Before you start dropping those questions in the comments about how to win asylum, all the questions that you have about USA asylum, first say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Hope your weekend is coming along nicely. Hello, Brian, says Alex Channel over on YouTube. Hey, good afternoon, Brian from Portland, says Dim Bell. Awesome. Portland. I love Portland. Cool city up there. Nice. Sahil says F1 visa got terminated but applied for asylum. Made my case by using case status, gender. It's with USCIS. Okay. Right on. When did you apply? Sahil, when did you submit your application? Because I might have something interesting to talk about with you. Nice. Sahil says from Chicago. We got Pranati who says hello. We got, hi there. Have an interview October 3rd. I'm nervous. AK, I'm going to tell you about something special that I think you're going to like in just a minute. Stick with me, AK. Don't go anywhere. Stick with me, okay? In Tustin. Okay, nice. Sahil says August 5th. Oh, you applied on August 5th? Get ready, Sahil. You might get your... Actually, there's a good chance you're going to get your interview very soon because look at... Sahil, look at you on the YouTube comments. Look right now, right below your comment, it says Alex Channel. From LA, I got my interview in 2 weeks. Get ready, Sahil. If yours hasn't been scheduled yet, there's a good chance it will be because many people are getting their interviews scheduled right away, which is surprising, right? Because everyone knows of people in their communities that are waiting several years for an interview, 3 years, 6 years, 10 years. And so it's surprising when I tell them, no. Actually, if you're applying now, around now, there's a good chance you're going to get your interview almost immediately within 1 to 3 months of applying. So that's real. That's the reality we're facing right now. So you got to be ready. And I'm going to tell you in just a minute about something special that I've been working super hard on. And it's kind of in like a beta launch phase. I'm going to tell you about something special that I think you're going to like in just a minute. Okay. But yeah, let me finish saying hello to the people out there. Good afternoon. Who we got with us today? Akash says hello. Hey, good afternoon. I'm glad you're here. All right. AK, where's your interview? Sorry, that was you that you already said Tustin. All right, nice. Happy Sunday, Brian in Los Angeles says Gâteau au chocolat. Who told me my French accent and saying that was just okay when I asked last time. I want to study French. I've studied a few foreign languages, but I haven't yet had the chance to study French. But honestly, it's like top of my list. Next up, all right. It's me, Z. Hey, good afternoon. Good to see you again here. I'm gonna get to your question in just a second. It's me, Z, because it's a good one. It's an important one. Dimbell, we're gonna talk about that. The short answer to your question, Dimbell, is yeah, it's fine. That's fine. That's what we do when we apply. We just submit the application form. But Dimbell, I hope that they're already working on a much fuller packet for you. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. Hi, Brian. How are you? Says Camel. Camel, good to see you. Is it good to move to a sanctuary? Good question, Camel. I'm going to get to that in a second. All right. Hey, Yilinong, good to see you. He says, hi, Brian. I'm here. Good timing for me being here. Says AK. Yeah, man. Good. AK. Good timing. Alrighty, Mohammed. Yep. Thank you for the question. We're going to get there. Hello. Good afternoon over on TikTok. Let me just say hello to the folks who we got on TikTok. That was YouTube. We got Love by Many says hello, sir, from Ohio. Nice. Checking in from Ohio. Oh, Mohammed is in Iraq. Wow. Joining us from afar. We got somebody else from Portland. Hi, Brian from Portland says Sarkonami. That's awesome. Sunflower says, I've been waiting for 10 years for an asylum interview. Okay. We're going to talk about that. I assure you. Hello, interview next week. Very scared, says Interesting 2.0. Interesting 2.0 on TikTok. Stay with me. in a couple of minutes, I'm going to tell you about something that I think you're going to like. That's going to help you, I believe. Okay. Well, actually, hey, interesting 2.0. When you say next week, what do you mean? Do you mean like in the next 5 days of this week or the week after that? Tell me, interesting 2.0. Tell me the actual date of your interview, because it may be relevant for something, because we're going to talk about this in a second. Interesting 2.0. Tell me on what actual date is your interview. All right. Mustafa, good question. I'm going to get to that question too in a second. I hope it's safe to apply for Asylum right now, says Youngest Baba. I'm going to address that issue too in a second, because we got a lot of interesting and good questions and points being brought up today. A lot of good stuff that I want to really discuss in some detail today. This is great. So look, but I want to tell you, I'm about to get to your questions, but I want to tell you first about something special. Several of you have already said, either you just applied and you haven't yet had an interview scheduled, but listen, there's a good chance it will be scheduled soon. But then a couple of you have already said, look, I've got my interview coming up very soon. Here's what you need to know. The testimony that you give on the day of your interview is the most important aspect of your case. It's by far more important than what you said in your documents. It's much more important than what you say in any declaration that you write and submit. It's more important than any evidence you submit. It's even more important than having a lawyer represent you during the interview. By far, the most important thing for winning your case, and what really matters the most, is how you perform on the day of your interview, the testimony that you give. By that, I mean how you answer the questions, the tough questions, and how you tell your story, how you explain your case in this very difficult, stressful situation. And I believe, and I say this based on my experience both, as a former asylum officer with the government and now as an asylum lawyer, I believe the number one thing you can do to increase your chances for asylum success is prepare. The preparation is the key to your case. The preparation is key. It's more important than anything else. Even if your interview is coming up in a week or two, there is still time to prepare in a significant, meaningful way that I believe will boost your chances for success significantly. Our clients consistently tell us that the preparation that we do with them, and particularly the mock asylum interview that we do with them, they tell us that's the most important part, that was the most helpful part of the case. That's what really gave them confidence to do a great job and what helped them win their case, okay? The preparation. And, in the past, we only did this, the preparation that we do, we only did it in the context of a full-scale representation where someone hires us from the beginning of their case to the end, or at least maybe they've already applied, but they hire us to do documents, preparation, and representations, kind of still what I consider to be a full-scope representation. Now, the problem is that there's two issues that people, several of you who have already commented today, are probably running up against, is that one, there might not be enough time to hire us to do those things. For those of you who said, a couple of you said, my interview's coming up in a week or two, we don't have time. We can't do the documents for you. And we probably can't represent you on the day of the interview either. It depends on when it is, how far out it is. We probably can't represent you on that day either, because we're probably already booked. But what we can do is the preparation. And the preparation is the most important part. It's the best thing you can possibly do to help you win your case. So honestly, this is a new service for us. In fact, I was even having trouble with this website a minute ago. So I would when I tell you this website URL, I would appreciate it if a few of you could go there and tell me whether it's working. Because it was working this morning, then it wasn't, and then it was again. We're just setting it up. It's in beta. I want you to go there in a second when I tell you this website URL and tell me whether it's working, if you don't mind. Look, here's what it's for. Here's what the website's about. We just began offering a few weeks ago a service that is a limited scope service where you're not hiring us to actually be your lawyers and represent you. Rather, you're hiring us to prepare you. We're going to prepare you. We're going to do the preparation for your asylum interview, which is, again, the most important part, okay? And we call it the mock asylum interview experience. Again, the mock asylum interview experience, or just for short, we refer to it as the experience. It consists in sort of three core pillars. There's three core pillars to the experience. And the first one, and the most important one, is it's a mock interview. It's a full-scale practice interview that you'll do with an asylum lawyer, okay? where you're going to go basically from beginning to end and do basically everything you're going to do in a real interview. This is super important because guess what? The interview is going to be harder than you expect. It's going to be different than you expect. Okay. With the practice interview, we go through everything. And that way, when it's time for the real interview, you know what kind of questions you're going to get. You know how it feels to be in this position. You know what the different procedures are for the day. All of this is going to give you confidence, but we're going to give you even more confidence because pillar number 2 of the experience is a day or 2 or 3 after your mock interview, we do another practice session. And the second practice session is what we call a debrief session, where we give you feedback and we tell you how you did. And we point out things you did well and we give you tips on things that you can do better. And so we're actually giving you feedback about how to tell your story in a clear and impactful way. And you're going to practice it. You're going to practice the parts you didn't do so well. We're going to try it again. You're going to practice again with feedback and input and practice. Okay. So those are the first 2 pillars of the experience. It's a 2-hour mock interview with an asylum lawyer and then a 30-minute debrief session with the same asylum lawyer. Okay. And then the third pillar is a personalized study toolkit, which basically means that we want you to be able to keep studying and practicing up until the day of your interview, whether this interview is in 2 weeks from now or 2 years from now. You can do this and you can benefit from this even if your interview isn't scheduled yet. Okay. Because the third pillar of the experience is the personalized study toolkit, which is the recordings. We're going to give you both a video recording and the audio recording of your 2 practice sessions. And we're going to give you the transcripts of them. And we're going to give you an AI generated summary of them. So with these materials, you can keep studying no matter whether your interview is in 5 days after you do the prep sessions or 5 years after you do them. You can still benefit from this stuff. You'll keep benefiting from this stuff. Okay. So I put up a special webpage to give you a lot of information about this. And those of you who said that you have the interview coming up or you just recently applied for Asylum, I want you to check this out. I think you might really, really be interested in this. Now listen, Nunda is asking, how do we book a session to do the mock interview and how much is it in 2 weeks? My interview's in 2 weeks. Perfect. Nunda on TikTok, yes, there's time. 2 weeks is definitely time. As long as there's like 5 business days before we do a consultation with you, then there will be time. So we've got time, Nunda, but you need to act now. Now, here's the thing, Nunda and everyone else. You can't go straight to the mock interview right now. We are requiring that you do a consultation first. We want to talk with you. We want to get to know you, get to understand your case and your circumstances, and see whether you qualify, because not everyone qualifies for this, okay? We have to do an assessment in the context of a consultation. How much is the consultation? $97. How much is the experience, which is those 3 pillars I told you about earlier? It's $3,000. Okay, technically it's $2,997, but basically $3,000, right? So look, because we're just launching this, it's in beta. I'm offering something special. In addition to the experience, which is the 3 pillars I talked about earlier, the 2-hour mock interview session, the 30-minute debrief session, and the personalized study kit. In addition to all that, I'm offering some other training materials, some bonuses that are packaged together inside like a customer portal for you to make it easy for you to access and to know exactly what I personally think are the exact things you need to be studying and reviewing before your interview. So I'm offering right now, this is limited time. This is not going to last. It might not last more than a week, honestly, this package that I'm telling you about now. It's the 3 core pillars plus 5 different sort of bonuses. Limited time. If you want to learn all about this, go to asylumprep.com. Now, this is the website that I told you. We were having trouble with this. It was working, and then I checked this morning, and it was working, but then I checked a couple hours ago, and it wasn't. So I tweaked something, and it did seem like it was working again. Would somebody go there and tell me whether the page loads, whether it actually comes up? Asylumprep.com. 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 I'm going to put that in the, I'm going to put Asylum. I'm going to put this in the comments. Asylum training. It's basically Asylum training. Okay. Go to asylumprep.com. And let me just, guys, I'm about done talking about this. I'm going to get to the questions in just a second, but I just want to stress one more time. if you book this with us, if you go to this webpage and you say, yes, I want it, and you click the blue button to go to the next step, that next step is booking a consultation. It is not booking the actual mock interview and the experience yet. You have to qualify for that. We first have to do a consultation with you, a full scale consultation to see whether you qualify for the mock asylum interview experience. So do a consultation. Okay, Gato says it's working. Okay, good. If one or two more people would try, I'd appreciate it just to see whether the URL is working for you. Go to asylumprep.com. I couldn't even remember because it's literally brand new. Asylumprep.com. I posted that link in the chat on YouTube. I'm going to put it in TikTok as well. It's on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Now I'm putting it on TikTok as well. Asylumprep.com. Okay, so Gato says it's working. Anybody on TikTok, tell me, can you go to that website URL and make sure it's working? Asylumprep.com. All right. So look, if you're interested in possibly doing the mock interview with us, the full preparation, okay, which we call the mock asylum interview experience, go check out this webpage that I put up. Where it's like a super long webpage. It's like 15 pages or something. If you scroll down, it keeps going and going and going, because I wanted to tell you everything about it. Like there's tons of information in it, including about the bonuses that you're going to get, additional training materials in addition to doing the experience. For a limited time, I'm offering like some additional sort of for free additional bonuses like training materials. So it talks about those too on this webpage, asylumprep.com. Yep, Ahmed, you can ask questions here. Okay, Lily1 says it's up and it's working. Nice. What flag is that, Lily? Is that the Ethiopian flag? It's tiny on my screen. I can't see from here. Lily1, is that Ethiopian? Where are you from? All right, let me go to the questions. Thanks for staying with me through that long intro. Asylumprep.com. All right, let's go to the questions and the comments. I'm going to start back on YouTube where we usually start, but not always. All right. Yep. So let's address. Dimbel was the first person to comment, or actually no, Akash was, said hello. Dimbel says hi, good afternoon from Portland. But Sahil, let's go to your visa termination. Yeah, your F1 visa got terminated, applied for asylum, made my case by using case status, gender. It's with USS. Look, gender doesn't work. Gender does not work. If you say, I fear being persecuted on account of the fact that I'm a man, or on account of the fact that I'm a woman, that doesn't work. In fact, there was actually recently a BIA decision about this that just really confirmed that will not work. That is not considered a particular social group. Okay? It's got to be something else. I'm not saying you're going to lose your case. What I'm saying is it needs to be framed differently. Because the actual persecution that you fear may well be on account of a protected ground. Decent chance that it is some kind of social group. Or it could be political opinion. Often cases that feel and seem like they might be a particular social group are in fact viable political opinion cases. Sahil, you should get help, because it sounds like you think your case is one thing, but it's not, or at least it's not something that's going to work. So I really hope you talked with an asylum lawyer. Okay. All right. AK, October 3rd coming up. Oh, you have plenty of time to work with us to do the mock interview experience, the mock asylum interview experience, the experience. Do that with us, AK. Go to asylumprep.com. All right. Tassawar says, hey, Mr. Brian, I just received notification that action's been taken on your case. I checked my work permit. It shows approved after 50 days. And it's Sunday today. Thanks a lot. You're being very helpful. You're welcome. Glad that worked out for you. Congratulations on getting the work permit approval. That's awesome. That'll make your life better, I think. All right. Okay. It's Meezy wants to know, hello, Brian. Have you successfully argued pattern or practice for Indian interfaith couples without past harm if they kept their marriage a secret and not registered the marriage in India but in the U.S.? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. My colleagues might remember having made just a pattern or practice argument around religion or possibly membership in a particular social group for caste related issues. But if this is interfaith, it's probably probably a religion case, right? I don't know whether we've done it just based on with no past harm. I don't know. It's feasible. Look, it's possible. The country conditions information about India does suggest that you're at real risk because of this fact, right? However, it would be a much stronger argument if there are other circumstances we can point to that suggest that you in particular would be at risk. Okay, that's based on something more than just the country conditions information. Like if your families have had a problem with it or expressed things that either are expressly a threat or could be considered to be a threat. That's the kind of thing that we would really want to ask you about, and that's we would explore that in the context of a consultation. And of course, if you end up hiring us then for the experience, which is our mock interview experience, then we would go deep into that in the experience to really explore the nexus in your case and the well-founded fear aspect of whether it's likely that you're going to be persecuted. All right. Dimbell says, hey, I applied in October 2024. The lawyer just submitted the form. They didn't submit my whole case. Do you think it's okay? Yeah, so let me address it like this. The question then is this. So is it okay if when you applied for asylum, you just submitted the application form and the required documents like, your passport cover page or photo page and any records around your marriage and birth certificates for your children, but you did not submit a declaration or evidence or country conditions information or a legal brief from your lawyer? Is that okay? Yeah, it's fine. That's how we do it. We don't submit all that stuff up front. We submit the application, but we begin working immediately once the client hires us. We begin working on the whole case, what we call the asylum roadmap. That's our packet or filing that we make with declaration, evidence, and then a legal brief that discusses and then includes behind it country conditions information. So it's okay. It's fine to submit just the application, but then submit all that other stuff, which we call our asylum roadmap, because it's like a roadmap. It's a map that shows the officer how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. It's fine to submit that later. Ideally, at least a week before the interview, or really ideally 2, but in practice, a week is fine. Usually, honestly, 3 or 4 days before is fine. But I recommend strongly don't try to take all that stuff on the day of the interview, or there's a strong chance that they will ask they'll make you reschedule the interview in order for the officer to actually consider it. But yeah, no, the mere fact that it happened, that your lawyer did just the application form, not a problem. Not a problem. Without submitting the other stuff at first, that's fine, as long as they should now go do the other stuff with you as well. Okay? I hope they will. Look, this is something that's catching a lot of lawyers by surprise, the fact that the interview is getting scheduled so quickly for many people, right? Like they think oh, we've got years to do this. And so we will we'll worry about getting the rest of the case developed later. All the other paperwork, and so they're not planning for it, and then all of a sudden the interview gets scheduled, and sometimes it's 8 days away, 10 days away from the day you get the interview notice, and then you're in a very difficult position. You're in trouble, honestly. So I hope your lawyer is aware that interviews are being scheduled very quickly for most people, because a lot of us immigration lawyers are not aware of this because they don't do much asylum. They do asylum cases every now and again, so they're not really up to speed on how it works. All we do is asylum. We do asylum all day, every day. That's all we do. We only do asylum. Okay, let me take that back. We do green card applications, but only for asylees, for people who got asylum and are now applying for a green card. That's all we do. We're asylum focused. We're an asylum law firm. Okay. We've got, is it a good idea to move to sanctuary cities as an affirmative asylum seeker? The question is this. So is it a good idea for you to move to a so-called sanctuary city as an asylum seeker? And the question is specifically for affirmative asylum seekers. Look, it's good to move to a place with a higher asylum approval rate, and those tend to be the sanctuary cities. For example, San Francisco usually has the highest approval rate in the country, usually both at the affirmative level for affirmative cases with USCIS, the asylum office, but also the immigration court there usually has a pretty high approval rate too. So it's good from that perspective. In terms of minimizing your risk for arrest, I don't know that it helps any. No, because look, they're sending in ICE and now federal troops to sanctuary cities. So I can't tell you, I think it also lowers your risk of arrest, but I do think that moving to a place that has a higher asylum approval rate is a good thing if you're willing to actually move. Don't commit immigration fraud by saying that you're going to move or that you're acting like you move, just listing some address there and be like, yeah, I live there. That's fraud. Don't do that. But if you're willing to actually move to take advantage of that, then yeah, I recommend it. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Grazi says, I'm just curious if I apply for asylum and get denied, when will I get a court hearing after years in Texas? The question is this. So how long are you going to have to wait for your case to run its course in immigration court if it's sent there to court after a negative decision from USCIS? So we're talking about a case where you do apply with USCIS, you have an interview, and you get a negative decision, and they transfer your case to immigration court. Look, it depends on the city. It depends on not just the city, not just the court. Some courts have higher average duration or wait times than others. But even within the same court, it really depends on the actual judge that your case is assigned to, because some of the newer judges have availability sooner. It might just be a few months, honestly, till your first hearing. It might just be a few more months to your second one, your final one. But some judges, it's going to be several years. So it's impossible to predict this, unfortunately. No matter where you are, it's impossible to predict how long you might have to wait for your case to run its course in immigration court. Okay? All right. Gâteau au chocolat? No way. No way. Hey, do me a favor. Send another email. Send an email to info@politicalasyluምላwyers.com. And I'm going to check it right now. And put in your email, this is gâteau au chocolat from YouTube, because I'm going to search for chocolat from YouTube. Okay. Because I want to see what you said, and I want to follow up on this, because that's a problem if that's what happened. I want to follow up on that and make sure that you're taken care of. Make sure that that's right. We do it right. Okay. 1 second. All right. Akash says, I came here on a student visa and filed asylum in May 2023. I got a misdemeanor, sold cigarettes to a minor. The criminal record was expunged. Will ICE deport me? I don't think so. I think the risk of that happening is low in that situation. Okay. I have my individual hearing any time from now. Please, what's the key to get this granted? Says Tindonge, Bernadette, Anje. What do you mean any time now? Like in the next week or in the next month or in the next year? When is it? I wonder. Tindonge. What are the keys? So look, the question, let me try to address it like this. The question then is this. So what are the keys to getting your asylum case approved in immigration court? Look, it's actually the same as the asylum office. Preparation is the most important thing. Okay. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to convince the judge or the asylum officer that you have a well-founded fear of persecution, right? And also that persecution is based on the fact that you possess one of the 5 protected characteristics under U.S. asylum law. So it's really all about telling your story and explaining your case in a clear and impactful way. Okay. To do that, you got to know what the judge needs or what the asylum officer needs, what they want to know, what they're really looking for. So you have to understand asylum. You have to understand what the asylum officer needs from you. And then you have to understand how to give it to them. You got to understand how to testify. And most importantly, you need to practice your testimony. Whether it's an immigration court or the asylum office, you need to practice your testimony. Practice answering very difficult questions. Get feedback, expert feedback on how to do better at that and how to do it in a clear, concise, and impactful way, and practice it, okay? Preparation is the most important part of your case, by far. Much more important than any documents you could possibly submit, because the testimony that you give on the day of your interview or hearing is what truly matters, way more than any documents, okay? So committing yourself to proper preparation is the number one thing that you can do to drastically increase your chances for asylum success. And I don't know if you saw this earlier, Bernadette, but I literally today put up a web page with a lot of information about a ton of information. It's like a super long web page about a service that we just began offering a few weeks ago to basically offer preparation as a standalone service. Okay. Preparation as a standalone service. it's called the Mock Asylum Interview Experience, but we also do it for immigration court hearings. It's what you have to do on that day and how you need to understand it and approach it and prepare for it is basically the same. But we would do a mock hearing with you rather than a mock interview because they're a little bit different, right? So if you want to get information about this, you can go to this webpage, asylumprep.com. Asylumprep.com. One more time, asylumprep.com. You don't need to put www or anything like that. Just put asylumprep.com. And that's where you can go to this webpage to find a ton of information. And also a special offer of like some additional stuff that we don't normally offer with the experience, some additional stuff, some bonuses that I'm offering for a limited time, along with the experience as we launch this new service. And the first step is to do a consultation. You got to do a consultation with us first. You can't purchase this directly right now. You need to go to asylumprep.com to find the information if you want to learn a bunch about this service. The Mock Asylum Interview Experience is what we call it. And from that page, there's a link you can click on in little blue boxes. You can click on a link to then go schedule a consultation with one of our asylum professionals to see if you qualify for the experience. So go to asylumprep.com if you want to learn tons more about scheduling, about doing the experience with us, the asylum preparation. All right. Let's go to the questions on YouTube. Good afternoon. Hey, for those of you who haven't been with us from the very beginning of this live, I'm Brian Manning and I'm an asylum lawyer. I used to be an asylum officer, but I switched sides. And now as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. I have a law firm. It's called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country. Doesn't matter where you're located. What's up? 778899 says, hello, I just got a NOID, N-O-I-D. Are you guys able to help with my case? Depends on how much time. In general, yes, but it depends on how much time is left. Look, if you've got like 2 days before it's due, then it's not even worth scheduling a consultation with my office. If you've got at least like 10 days before it's due, before the deadline, then yes, schedule a consultation literally right now. What's up? I don't know if we have any availability tomorrow, but I think we do on Tuesday. But you have to schedule this consultation with us like immediately so that we can see if we can help you. We need to talk with you and ask you some questions, get to know you, get to know your case, and tell you whether we think we're in a position to help you with this NOID rebuttal. But you got to go fast because these have a short deadline and it's a ton of work. It's a lot of work for my law firm. It's not easy to do this. You can schedule that consultation at winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com to schedule the consultation, winasylum.com. Okay. All right, let's go to the questions. Nice. Good afternoon. Brian Manning here. Asylum officer turned asylum lawyer. Okay. We've got... All right. Where were we on YouTube? Let's go back to YouTube. Okay, so yeah, D. Dontobelli says, hi, Brian, I have an interview scheduled in the next 2 weeks. How can your team be of help to me? That's what we got this question on YouTube. The Mock Asylum Interview Experience, known as the Experience for short, is exactly for someone like you. You are who we made this for, De Dontobelli, because with 2 weeks left, we don't have time to help you with documents. We don't have time to help you with a declaration or revise your existing one or do a new one. We don't have time to work up an evidence file for you. We don't have time to write the legal brief for you. Basically, we don't have time to do documents, and we might not be able to represent you on the day of your interview because of scheduling conflicts. Because it's only 2 weeks away, we're probably already booked for them. Maybe not, but probably. So you are exactly the reason that I created this new service called the Mock Asylum Interview Experience. Because what we can do for you is the preparation. We do have time to do the preparation. And lucky for you, lucky for everyone, I think, the preparation is the key. The preparation is the most important thing. It's much more important than your application. It's much more important than your declaration. It's much more important than your evidence. And it's more important than having a lawyer actually represent you on the day of the interview. The preparation is the most important part of your entire case. And we do offer that as a standalone service. This is new. And actually, De Dontabelli, because we're launching it sort of in beta right now, in addition to the experience, which consists of 3 pillars, and really the core of it is a mock interview, okay, a full-scale practice interview. In addition to that, though, the 3 pillars that revolve around that mock interview. In addition to that, for a limited time, for right now, I'm offering some other training stuff, a package for you that I think you're really going to like and you're really going to find valuable. And you can learn all about it on the webpage by going to asylumprep.com. That's ASYLUMPREP.com. 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 Okay? So go there, read that webpage. It's going to take you a while to read that. It's like a super long webpage with tons of information because I want you to like really understand how we think we can help you. And if you think if you're interested and you want to learn more or ask questions, or if you want to do it, you need to schedule a consultation first. Okay. We have to talk with you in a consultation to see if you qualify for this experience, for the experience. Okay. De Dontabelli, I hope you'll go to asylumprep.com. All right. Let's go. All right. Check out this. She is not getting paid to say this. She is not getting paid to say this. Pranati on YouTube says, Brian, I have to say, hiring your law firm has been the best decision. We're in the process of filing our asylum case and are on the step where I answer questions based on my declaration. I cannot begin to tell you how helpful this has been. It has always helped me establish just a clear timeline and story, which I know will help me avoid inconsistencies, and I feel much more prepared. I'm sure the mock interview will help me even more. I've hired you for a full-scale representation. Awesome. Thank you, Pranati, for coming on and saying that publicly. Super kind of you. Appreciate the kind words and the feedback. I'm going to tell the team that you said that. They're going to appreciate how thoughtful that was of you and how kind that is of you. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Yep. Look, I'm biased, but I think hiring my law firm for like full scale representation, like from the beginning, before you even apply through the end of your case, I think that's the best way to win your case. I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself. But it's not an option for everyone. For some people, it's a matter of time. For some people, it's a matter of money. Because that's expensive. That full-scale representation is expensive. We charge like between $11,000 and $16,000 for full-scale representation cases, depending on certain factors. But the mock asylum interview experience, which is the preparation element, it's a fraction of that cost. Okay, it's $3,000 or just under. It's $2,997. It's $3,000. So it's a fraction of full-scale representation. So it's much more affordable for people, but the good news is it's the most important part. AK wants to know how much is the preparation? Yeah. So the experience, the mock asylum interview experience is $3,000 plus $97 for a consultation to start. You got to do the consultation first to see if you qualify for the experience. All right. Adonai Ermias says, after 4 months from my second interview, my congressman inquiry came as supervisory review may require extensive review. Could you give me define it in plain terms, please? Yeah, good question, Adonai. The question then from Adonai is this. So what are you supposed to understand is the issue here when the asylum office comes back to you after you've had 2 asylum interviews, and then you do a congressional inquiry and they come back and tell you, well, this is under supervisory review and it may take a long time. What were the exact words you said? Supervisory review may require extensive review is what they told you, right? Or they told the congressman. They are looking closer at your case. It means that there's some reason they need to look into it. Oftentimes, when they tell you that, it could be something security related, like there's more security checks or vetting. Maybe your name sounds like the name of someone who's on some watch list, some bad guy. Maybe they have some other reason to believe that you've done things that make you a dangerous person or something like that. That's not the only reason. There can be other reasons why there could be a supervisory review and even extensive review. So The good news is that it doesn't mean you're going to get denied necessarily. There are cases like this where it takes a long time, where there's a long review, but then the person gets approved. Okay, it's okay. So don't worry. There's nothing to be gained by worrying, right? What I would tell you is that if you applied for asylum 5 years or more ago, you can probably expedite this through a mandamus lawsuit. Look, I'm talking about not the time between your interview and now. I'm talking about the time between when you applied and now. If that's 5 years or more, I think you're in a good position to force them to speed up this extensive review and do it quickly by suing them. I think there's a very good chance for success if you've been waiting 5 years or more. Okay, and I think it's normally in someone's best interest to do that, to try to get their interview and their decision as quickly as possible. All right. What can be done if asylum was dismissed by USCIS and the individual referred to request an interview with ICE? Any help? Says Feng Chong. Feng Chong, they're talking about if the letter from USCIS says something like, oh, we don't have jurisdiction over your case because you're an expedited removal proceeding. So if you want to pursue an asylum case, the next step is contact ICE and request a credible fear interview. Well, that's what you would have to do. I recommend trying to contact them by phone and letter, physical letter, instead of going in person, because there's some real risk of detention in person. That's the next step, is a credible fear interview. Look, I've got a free training on YouTube all about the credible fear interview. So the person should watch that video before they do their credible fear interview for sure. Okay. Go to YouTube, search for those of you not on YouTube, go to YouTube, search for political asylum lawyers, and then go to my channel, on Political Asylum Lawyers channel, and search for credible fear interview, or you could just search from the beginning from YouTube for asylum credible fear training. Credible fear training should do it, actually. Okay. All right. Rudy says, came here with parents at age 6 without paperwork. I've had TPS since 2010. Do you think I have a chance for asylum? Rudy, we'd have to nail down the timeline. I have to figure out whether you've, maybe I can ask it like this. Rudy, did you get TPS before you turned 18? If you got TPS before you turned 18 and you've had it ever since, and it's been valid and the whole time since you turned 18, starting from before you turned 18 and the whole time since, then there's a decent chance that you may overcome the 1 year filing deadline. But look, that's just one part of the case, the 1 year filing deadline. Okay. So we have to talk a lot about the actual underlying case, whether we think that there's a chance for success in terms of the substance of your case. Okay. Taha Hilai says, how long does a marriage-based green card case take in California? I don't know. Because as Camel says, we don't do marriage-based cases. We just do asylum. We do asylum all day, every day. Unfortunately, we don't do immigration based on marriage. We don't do immigration based on employment or investments. We just do asylum. I recommend that you talk with a lawyer who focuses on family-based immigration. Okay? All right. Nice. This is interesting. Do country conditions and similar cases of other interfaith establish the future probability of persecution alongside pressure from family? Yes. Yes. It's me, Z. Yes. As long as you use them correctly. Look, what most people want to do, most asylum seekers, is they'll find some reports and they'll just print them out and they'll just create a stack of reports this big and then just send it into the asylum office with nothing else. That's not helpful. The asylum officer's not going to read that. If you want them to help, if you want to use country conditions information for your benefit, you need to find the exact quotations that are of things that it says that are helpful to you. Okay. And I think ideally you need to discuss them in the context of a legal brief where you are analyzing and discussing them and connecting them back to the legal requirements for asylum. Now that's something that I think your asylum lawyer should do. Okay. All right. Nice. Good question. Let's see. Wow. I have an asylum case for being part of a particular social group, punished by 7 years to be in that group in where I come from. I had a bar fight, and I have 2 cases on my record now: assault, misdemeanor 1, and felony 5. Felony, you're probably not going to be able to get asylum. But look, I don't know. Look, I can't tell you definitively. You'd have to hire a lawyer who would need to actually look carefully into all of your documents and your history to tell you definitively, or even with a high degree of confidence, how this is going to affect you. But off the top of my head, just based on what I'm seeing here on YouTube, it's going to be tough for you to get asylum with that history, unfortunately. Okay. Wilfredo says, if I'm married while my mother's asylum is pending, would it cause any problem with my derivative? Hold on, I lost you, Wilfredo. I don't understand. If you get married while your mom's asylum is pending, would it? Oh, yes, it would. If you get, yeah, look, Wilfredo, tenemos un canal en español en YouTube. Asilo aprobado se llama. Asilo aprobado, Wilfredo. Yeah, if you get married, if you are a dependent, look, basically, I mean, not basically, the question is this. So if you're a dependent in your parents' asylum case and you get married, will that mess up the dynamic and make it hard for you to get asylum? Yes, it will. You will not get asylum through your parents' case. When you get married, you sever that relationship between you and your parent that is necessary for you to get asylum through their asylum claim. Look, turning 18, turning 21, while the case is pending, that doesn't matter because your age gets frozen below 21. As long as you're under 21 at the time your parent applies, your age is frozen. So turning 21 isn't a problem in terms of like becoming an adult. But getting married is. If you get married, you will not be able to be a dependent in your parents' case, which means if you want to still get asylum, you're going to have to apply as a principal applicant, which can be tricky because of this issue of the 1-year filing deadline, but not necessarily impossible to overcome. But I strongly recommend that you talk with an asylum lawyer about this issue before you get married. Honestly, I think it's the best thing to do. Okay. You cannot say pop and forget the smoke. Says, hi, when I submitted my asylum application, I did not include my personal declaration or the details of my basis for asylum. Can I now submit that as a PDF file under unsolicited evidence? Yes. Yes, you can, and you should. Allah Faisal says, have asylum interviews become faster than before? Yes, in 2 different ways. Let me explain. The question is this. Are asylum interviews being scheduled quicker than before, and are they actually lasting for a shorter amount of time than before? Yes, on both accounts. First, on duration. When I was an asylum officer with the Houston Asylum Office, and then up until really just a few months ago, most asylum interviews were taking like 3 hours, 3.5, 3:15 maybe was the average. That has changed drastically. Now it's down to, I think, under 2.5. In fact, I saw the statistic the other day, but I don't remember exactly what it was. It was cut drastically because asylum officers are now being asked to do 3 interviews in a single day instead of just 2. So they've got to do it quicker. That's why. Now, the other question was, are they getting scheduled quicker? Yes. If you apply right now for asylum, there's a very good chance you will get your interview right away within actually even less than a month. We've had some clients get it in less than a month. 1 to 3 months, we are seeing very often for people who are applying for asylum recently in the past few months, including up through today. So you got to be ready. If you're applying now, I hope you have an asylum lawyer helping you to put everything together and ready to go to produce your paper and defend it and present it on paper, but also, more importantly, to prepare you. The preparation is the most important part of your case. All right, look. Okay. Can I move, K. Roai says, can I move by myself to a new office in a different state and leave my family back, or do we all move? Good question. The question is this. Can you move to a new state in a jurisdiction of a different asylum office, right, and have your case transferred there to that new asylum office, but leave your family back behind? Or do they need to come with you? Do they have to come with you? You can move, and it doesn't matter if they move or not. You just need to do the change of address form for yourself or whoever moves. and then your case will get transferred. There's no requirement that they move, and there's no requirement that they be under that asylum office at that time or at any time, including the time of your interview or the time of the decision. What really matters is where you, the principal applicant, are living. Okay, that's who they care about. All right. Have you ever, Tins, anyone said, have you ever worked with asylees from Tibet? If not, how do you handle such applications since our case is very different from the rest? Yeah, we've helped people from Tibet. Sure. We've helped them at my law firm, and I've helped them I've not helped them. When I was an asylum officer, I handled and adjudicated cases from Tibet. But yeah, we've helped them from my law firm as well. So yeah, we know those. We've had success with them too. Okay. Got it. It's me, Z. Yeah, we should thank you for explaining more about your case. We should talk about that. If you haven't done a consultation with us yet, it's me, Z. I hope you'll schedule one. Oops. You can schedule one at winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com. Again, it's winasylum.com. 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 Okay. All right. Thank you, Gato Chocolat. Appreciate it for sending the email. Nice. No way. How interesting. Thank you for that. Good question. We got this question on YouTube. It says, is persecution only considered physical, or can mental harm be considered persecution as well? So thank you. And the question is this. So for purposes of establishing that you've been persecuted or that you will be persecuted in the future, are we only talking about physical harm, only about physical damage to your body, or can things like psychological harm count as well? Well, good news is that, yeah, psychological harm does count as harm. And so it is considered by the asylum officer for purposes of establishing whether you've suffered harm that is sufficiently severe to rise to the level of persecution. So you're going to get a lot of questions in your asylum interview about this. If you've been through difficult things, they're going to want to know, how did it affect you? And so how it affected you psychologically is important to this analysis. Even if there was no physical harm, if you've been, if people have done things to try to harm you, including psychologically or mentally, that is relevant. And if it did harm you psychologically, then that's relevant, and that is considered harm for purposes of the persecution analysis. So you definitely want to present all of this to the asylum officer. Okay. Vivek says, I have a last question. Can I postpone my court date in Houston can I change it to some other state? Well, if you move, the question is this. So can you change your court where your asylum case is being heard from one court to a different one in a wholly different state? Probably. It depends on when you ask to do it, assuming you've actually moved. Like, you can't just say, oh, I don't want to be in Texas, I want it to be up in San Francisco. Judge, please change my case to San Francisco. No, that doesn't work. But if you actually move to San Francisco, like literally actually move, truly move, and you do a change of address notification, then you can ask the judge, well, look, Judge, I moved. Based on this, can you transfer the case? And usually they say yes. Now, when there's a scenario where they don't say yes, which is when you ask for this transfer a short amount of time before your hearing. Well, normally a short amount of time before your individual hearing, your primary hearing. Because then it looks to them like maybe you're just trying to stall. And so they'll say, nope, should have asked for this earlier. But if you do this at least a few months before your individual hearing, there's a good chance the judge will say yes and transfer your case. Okay. What are the chances of beating the asylum bar for someone who crossed after May 2023? Not very high, but it's not impossible. We've seen it. It's not impossible, but not good. I don't know what the statistics are, but not high. All right. Oh, that's interesting. Dedan Tabelli says, You did a consultation with us, and we were about ready to get started on mandamus, but then you got the interview. Nice. Well, look, De Dontabelli, we should do the experience. You should do the experience. Okay. I hope you will. Go to asylumprep.com to see a webpage with a ton of information about this. Okay. And look, who was that? De Dontabelli? You've already done the consultation with us, right? If you don't have to do another one, because if we sent you the contract, that means that we already vetted your case. We already assessed it, and we determined that, yeah, we think you have at least some chance of winning, and it's the kind of case that we think we can help. So since you already did the consultation, you don't need to do another one. You're lucky. You get to skip straight to the experience if you want it. If you want to do it, send an email to De Dontabelli. Send the email to info@politicalasyluምላwyers.com and say, hey, I already did the interview. Brian said on a YouTube live on Sunday that I could go straight to the experience since I already did the consultation with you guys. Sorry. Yeah, not I already did the interview. I already did the consultation with your law firm. Brian said therefore I get to go straight to the experience. Can you set me up with the experience? Then we'll call you and we'll get it sorted out. Okay. All right. Have we worked with Mongolian cases? I don't know. I can't, I'm not thinking of any. Ghana, it doesn't matter. I mean, look, I think we're really good at finding and using country conditions information to our benefit. We're going to figure it out. Okay. We're good at that. I think we're really good at that. But much more, look, in my opinion, Ghana be much more important than finding someone who has experience with Mongolian cases is finding an asylum lawyer that actually knows what they're doing. Because unfortunately, I came to learn during my time as an asylum officer that most asylum lawyers, most immigration lawyers have no clue what they're doing. They just don't focus on asylum. They do it every once in a while and they never really learn it. Okay. So much more important than finding someone who has a lot of experience with Mongolian cases is finding someone who focuses on asylum, who does that as their main practice area, because those tend to be the lawyers that are really up to speed and up to date and experienced in this particular problem that you need solved. Okay. We should talk though. Go to winasylum.com to schedule a consultation. Okay. Good question. Can we bring our own notes to the interview? The question is this. So can you bring notes with you into your asylum interview to reference them and help jog your memory and use them during the interview? No. The officer won't let you have anything out. They won't let you have a pad and paper out. They won't let you read notes for sure. They want to test you. They want to see if you basically can explain your story in great detail in a consistent way without having things that appear to be contradictory. And it's hard. It's a stressful, difficult environment to be in. The interview is much harder than most people expect. Okay. But you can prepare for it. You can practice for it. The practice is the key. It's the most important thing. Practice and feedback about how to do better is what can truly tip the scales and make a huge difference in your chances for asylum success. And if you just joined us, I'm not going to explain it in detail again because I talked a lot about it earlier, but we're offering now, it's brand new, we're offering a standalone service where you can hire us just for the preparation. If you don't have the funds to hire us for the full thing, the full representation, or maybe there's not time because your interview is already scheduled and it's coming up in a week or two, so there's not time for us to do the whole representation, we may be able to do this. The preparation. The preparation is the most important aspect. And you can learn more about that by going to asylumprep.com. ASYOUMPREP.com. Asylumprep.com. Okay. So go there and check out that webpage. It's like super long. There's tons of information on it about this package that we have for you. What we call the mock asylum interview experience. Again, the mock asylum interview experience. Oh, Ghana B says, I'm already one of your clients and hoping to be your first Mongolian case winner. Awesome. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for being a client. We appreciate it. We are honored that you would hire us, that you would put your trust in us. This is a huge thing. We're talking about your safety. We're talking about your future. This is a massively important thing that you've done in putting your trust in us, and we want to honor that. We're going to do everything we can to help you win your case. Okay? All right. That's going to be it for today. If you want to get information about the mock asylum interview, what we call the mock asylum interview experience, go to asylumprep.com. Okay. But if you're like, I already know that I want to hire Brian's law firm for like full scale representation, and you want to do a consultation or at least to learn more about that and consider hiring us, go to winasylum.com, WINASYM.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation. Okay. Magdag, Maga Izdaga. Раньше говорил по-русски чуть-чуть. Сейчас, к сожалению, нет. Забыл все. So no, I don't speak it well enough anymore to do it, the preparation. But look, you can bring an interpreter. You can have an interpreter to interpret for you during the practice session. In fact, that will be more realistic. It'll be more realistic because during the day of your interview, you'll want to have interpretation, right? So you can, have ideally a professional. Professional would be better to practice with. And I strongly encourage you to take a professional interpreter with you on the day of your interview. Okay. But for the purposes of our practice sessions of the mock interview and the debrief session, ideally, yeah, you would have a professional join for that, but it could also be a non-professional, just like a friend or family member who speaks both languages very fluently. Okay. Simon has their interview next month. Chances of winning in California. It's getting harder with every passing month. The approval rate's going down and down, but it's still possible. We keep winning cases. All right. We're still winning cases. Don't give up. Don't give up the faith. Okay. We keep winning cases. People are winning. It's not impossible. Simon, go to asylumprep.com. I think that you might be really interested in this package. This mock asylum interview experience. This would be perfect for you, Simon. You already have your interview scheduled. Look, I think it's great for anyone. Even if you don't have an interview scheduled, I think that people can benefit from the mock asylum interview experience, which we call the experience for short, because we're going to give you video recordings, audio recordings, transcripts, and AI produced summaries of the practice sessions that we do, such that you can benefit from those at any time. But look, your interview's a month away. This is perfect timing. I'm really glad that we launched this website. Like literally today, I launched this website. I don't know if it wasn't working earlier, but a couple of people checked it just now and said that it was working. So hopefully it's still working. Asylumprep.com. That's ASYLUMPREP.com. Okay, awesome. So, what's up? 778899 says, I just scheduled a session tomorrow. Oh, good. I thought we might not have any availability tomorrow. I'm glad you got in there. What's up? 778899 to talk about the NOID, the NOID. Yeah, we want to talk with you. We want to get to know you, get to know your case, and explain if we think we can help you with it. We're going to explain how. We're going to give you more information about what we do. It's hard to win. What's up? 778899. I'll just tell you that right now. Chances for success are low, but we've won these. In fact, in the last 2 or 3 months, I can think of 3 NOID rebuttals that we've won. It's rare. It's hard to do. It's very hard to do, but we've won a few of these lately. It's not impossible. Okay. All right. That's going to be it for this afternoon, tonight. Thank you for being with me. If you want to get like tons of information about this mock asylum interview experience that we're just launching, it's actually kind of still in beta. Well, we've been doing the preparation. We've been doing it for 5 years. My law firm's been open for 5.5 years. We've been doing the preparation for 5.5 years, but we're just now offering it as a standalone service, the preparation, such that you don't have to spend $11,000 to $16,000 to hire us for like a full case. Rather, you can hire us if you want just for the preparation, which is the most important part of your case. This is the first time that we're offering this as like a standalone service. And you can find out tons more about that at asylumprep.com. ASYLUMPREP.com, asylumprep.com. All right. Thank you for being with us. I'm Brian Manning. And as always, It really is a pleasure and an honor to serve you in your asylum journey. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye. Later, guys. Take care.